And we are live. Welcome to On the Sofa. We're back after being 2 weeks away with my co-host Sci Niece, as
What up,
always.
bitches?
And we've got Stall in the house.
Excuse me while I kill myself.
And
you really need to show some respect for the deceased.
yeah, well, exactly. But before we get into the show, I just want to plug my book, if I may.
Oh, have you got a book?
Yes, I have. It's called the link is in the description.
That's a really shit title for a book, Mike.
It's called Surviving 2020, and it's available on Kindle right now. So please do purchase a copy if you can afford to do so.
Actually, I've just.
And
can I just retract my earlier statement? I now think that the link is in the description is a really awesome title for a book.
Yeah, yes, it is actually. And if you've read it and enjoyed it, or even if you didn't enjoy it, please, if you could leave a review on Amazon, that would really help me out. I'd really appreciate it.
I still haven't read my preview copy because I know damn well I might will get annoyed when I point out all the typos and grammatical errors. So I'm going to save it for a rainy day.
Pointing out typos and grammatical errors, way to steal my thunder.
Well, and just like that, Stoll volunteered to proofread the next manuscript.
Here's the thing: I am actually looking forward to reading what you gave me, Mike. I genuinely am. I really am, because I know it's going to be. I know it's going to be super interesting.
Hi, Will.
Hi, Will. Well, I hope so. I hope you find it interesting.
Oh, I will do. Yeah, but I'm guessing it's one of the. I think how many pages was it? 500? Did you say?
500. No, it's only about 200, I think.
Oh, it's a pamphlet. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not Martin.
It's more of a pamphlet then. The kind of things I find through my letterbox. Oh, I thought it was going to be a long thing. That's what she said.
That's what she said. Anyway, hi to Will and hi to Greg as well.
Hi, Greg.
So,
if anybody has read Mike's book, and if you have got a few spare pennies, do buy it. Please don't give me any spoilers. I don't want to hear the ending. I don't know. I don't want to know if he survives or if he was killed in the kitchen or whatever.
We don't need to give you spoilers, Stool, because you are one. You spoil anything you will come into contact with.
This is true.
At least you admit it. Being honest with yourself is a big step in the right direction. I'm very proud of you.
So I guess we better start off by talking about Prince Philip.
Yay!
So I'll just bring that up.
I just figured out that Stool's little display name there, that's what that was about. It took me a minute, but then I remembered, oh, that's right, Prince Philip was Greek.
It actually took you about 10 minutes, but...
Well, you know what? I'm quiet in the head. Leave me alone, Stool. Don't make me start roasting you more than usual.
Okay, so yeah. Prince Philip has died aged 99. How do we feel about this?
A little disappointed that he didn't make it to 100 like most of the other royals that died recently. I'm
slightly...
Sorry.
I'm slightly disappointed that he couldn't hang on for just maybe a week or two. Not for his birthday, but just for the Queen person. because it was her birthday. She was 95. And they've also got she's got a what is it called? Is it platinum? Michael, tell me, but her next Jubilee is this year, I think, and she'll be the first British monarch ever to have a insert word that I can't remember. Jubilee. I think it's platinum, is it, or whatever?
I think it is platinum, but didn't she just celebrate Sapphire? I think she celebrated Sapphire in 2017, so I think platinum will be next year.
I don't know, but we've got two things going. We've got two things going on here. You've also got their wedding anniversary. They were married for 72 years. Big cheers.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was 73.
You could be correct, yeah. And then you've also got her reign. Yeah. Literally the first monarch ever to do this platinum thing, or whatever we think it is. So it is a bit of a shame that he passed away before he could get to enjoy all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nerdy Rodent. You've confirmed that I'm correct. I like being confirmed right. I like being right.
Yeah. And we get a bank holiday, which is good.
Yeah, but you know how this works. They give us a bank holiday and they take one away. I've been on this planet a long time. I know how this works.
Ew, that's like snow days when I was in school. You'd get a snow day and then they'd take a day off spring break.
Yeah, I think they did it to us this year, actually. Oh, no, it was last year. There was something that we were celebrating last year. I can't remember what it was because I didn't give a crap. It was something about the war. I forget. Oh, VE Day, was it? And everybody went out celebrating. Everyone went out celebrating to spread the COVIDs. And I think we got a bank holiday for it, but they took it away from us in a later one.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I remember these things. I'm not saying I'm trivial and I remember everything, but I do remember.
Yeah. So basically, briefly, the article briefly says the Duke of Edinburgh, the longest serving royal consort in British history, was at the Queen's side for more than her 6 decades of reign.
That's not technically true.
Go on. Well, they were married before she took the throne, weren't they?
I have to raise an objection with that little bit of text because technically he wasn't by her side. He was always 2 steps behind her. And the only time in public in his entire life that she walked behind him was the other day at his funeral. So there you go. Pedantic.
And
you know what, Stool? I ought to just getting on my damn nerves already, and we're not even 10 minutes in. And I already want to kill you. It's a new record.
But don't you think that, I'm not going to belabor this point, but that's literally a true fact. That was the only time in history where he's in public been allowed to be in front of her at his funeral. Now, make of that as you wish, but
we're trying to honor the fact that do you know how rare a marriage even lasting 10 years is, let alone over 70?
I'm bringing the histories.
You're just petty and pedantic, and you're just fucking it all up. We're trying to have a nice moment here.
I'm bringing the histories to the room. Go on, continue.
You are the histories, you ancient son of a fuck.
Now. Boris Johnson said he inspired the lives of countless young people. It is with deep sorrow that Her Majesty the Queen announces the death of her beloved husband, the palace said. The royal family joined with people around the world in mourning his loss. It is understood that the Prince of Wales travelled from his home in Gloucestershire, or Gloucestershire, however you want to.
Did you just say Gloucestershire?
I did, yeah.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Sure. over on that side of the pond.
Gloucestershire.
Pronounced like us Americans say sure when we're lazy.
Oh my God, they've got to you.
To visit his mother at Windsor Castle on Friday afternoon. And just skipping it. Meanwhile, Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, said he consistently put the interests of others ahead of his own, and in doing so, and in so doing, provided an outstanding example of Christian service.
Well, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Canterbury, I don't know what that word means, but the Archbishop of Canterbury is, to be honest, a bit of a C word. So we don't listen to him. But I do.
Well, we're all grown ups. You can say cunt.
I know I'm a good boy. But here's the thing. I'm no fan of the royals. I also do not hate them. But I'll tell you something. First of all, Prince Philip's story is absolutely fascinating. He's an immigrant, would you believe? So the flag shaggers are really having a fit over this one. And it is slightly true that he was absolutely devoted to his missus. So I did feel immensely sorry when we also saw the images of Mrs. Queen sat there all by herself.
Oh, that broke my heart. I actually had the funeral on live while I was actually at work that day, because when am I not at work, as we all know? And like, that's just going to become a running joke. Haha, Sci Niece at work. How typical. But yeah, I had the funeral on live, and it just broke my heart just seeing the Queen all by herself. I just saw, a poor little old lady who just lost her husband that she's had around forever, spent more of her life with him than without him. That's going to take a lot out of somebody.
Yeah, that is going to be one of those images that lasts forever and will appear in history books, because, that was really, it was gut-wrenching. Even I fucking lost it.
Oh,
very, very sad. Yes, I do have feelings, Mike. Just because you've now started saying Gloucestershire, you big show off.
Nerdy raises a good question. Wasn't he a god to some people?
Yes, he was. He was a god to
a lot of people.
That brings us nicely onto our next segment.
He was actually. I'm not going to spoil your next story then, but he was literally a god to a certain group of people. And I'm not talking about English people.
Let's just share this then.
So who are you talking about then?
Well, Mike's going to tell you now.
How Prince Philip came to be worshipped on a remote South Pacific island.
It happens to us all, to be honest.
Prince Philip, who once asked a group of indigenous Australians if they still throw spears at each other, wasn't exactly renowned for his tact, especially in dealing with Britain's colonial legacy. But the Duke of Edinburgh, who died Friday at 99, was a revered figure among some native people on the remote island of Tanna in Vanuatu. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but
no, you did that correctly, actually.
Oh, okay, good. In fact, he was.
But you still can't say Gloucestershire.
In fact, he was considered something of a god. That's because a long-standing local legend referenced the pale-skinned son of a mountain god.
That's a swear word, isn't it? You pale-skinned son of a mountain god.
Who had travelled.
Sorry.
Who had travelled across the ocean to marry a powerful woman but would eventually return to Vanuatu. Philip, undoubtedly pale and married to Queen Elizabeth II, fit the archetype. So people on Tanna have deliberately maintained their subsistence lifestyle and traditional beliefs while often eschewing modern comforts like electricity.
I thought you were going to get that word wrong.
And some anthropologists argue that folding Philip into that belief system was a way of dealing with the intrusions of the Western world, or reappropriating and taking back colonial power, as Vanuatu-based journalist Dan McGarry told the BBC. So there you have it. He is worshipped as a god.
Yeah, that is a true thing. They did actually think he was a god. I don't know if they still think that or not, because I've not been there recently. But yeah, that's a true thing.
Yeah.
If what you should have done, Mike, and I'm not trying to criticize your awesome streamings here. Prince Philip has a really interesting history. And if you know anything about his family who deserted him, and his mother in particular, that is absolutely fascinating and actually quite sad.
It is, isn't it? I learned about that first from The Crown, and then I looked into it as well. That's a whole stream in itself.
Never watched The Crown. I've always wanted to watch The Crown. It is good.
I've never seen it, and I've no intention of ever seeing it. I've seen one clip, and it looked like American trash. Yes, nerdy, we're doing educationals. But his story is absolutely fascinating. His story is absolutely fascinating. And
it is.
If you're not aware of it, his mother, who was basically a queen, she went slightly wrong in the head, shall we say. She was put in an institution. In the old days, they would call it a mental institution. So she was locked away for 5 years, where they did nasty experiments on her. Reason being, she thought that she was a personal friend of Jesus and that she had an autographed an autographed photo of Jesus. And she was tone deaf.
Crazy. Okay.
She was completely 100% deaf, and she learned how to lip read in 5 languages.
That's actually really cool.
That is very cool. And when she was eventually released from the mental institution, her husband, i.e. Prince Philip's dad, then fucked off to France with his girlfriend, leaving Prince Philip with nobody. And so he came over to England as an immigrant with nothing. I know that's crazy because he's a royal person. Then the story went from there. It's a bit of a love story, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Okay.
I hope nobody's watching this, because I don't want anybody to know that I've got feelings.
Well, the cat's out of the bag, I'm afraid. Because 7 people are watching. Can you believe it?
I think they need to be booted. Let's rewind and pretend I never did that bit.
But there was a bit of controversy surrounding, his well, I'll just share the article because it's and then we'll talk about it actually, because Lords will be paid £162 attendance allowance for making video call tributes to Prince Philip.
I was not aware of this one.
What do we think? What do we think about this?
I'd never seen. I wasn't aware of this, but it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Absolutely does not
Compared
surprise me.
to what we've discussed in more recent shows, this is honestly one of the least surprising things that's come out of your side of the pond since I started co-hosting this goddamn show.
I find it slightly odd. I mean, the Lords, as in the House of Lords, get paid. Shut up, godless, you racist. I find it. I find it. Oh, I'm so going to crucify godless. Oh my God, I've just done a racism. What was that phrase that Mike just taught me about the pale skinned people? And I really should have written it right down so I can use it the next time I speak to Will. The Lords, as we all know, they basically get paid a big wad of cash every time they turn up.
Yeah.
Just to do something. And I forget the amount, but it's several hundreds of pounds. So £162. £162 just for doing a Zoom. Yeah, whatever. I find the amount oddly specific, though.
Yeah, that is a little weird. How did they come up with 162 pounds? That's that I need to know. I need the formula there.
Yeah. So
I suggest that the formula will be, let's keep it below 165. Otherwise, there'll be some kind of tax implications. Just my wild guess.
Yeah. So,
and I'm not being cynical.
It appears in the House of Lords will be able to claim £162 attendance allowance if they make a remote tribute to Prince Philip over video call. Parliamentary authorities have confirmed.
What date is this from, Mike?
This Monday the 12th.
Right.
Yeah, this falls under the heading of while we were out.
Yeah. Let's close that one.
So I'm guessing it was probably an option that if they chose to do it and they were allowed to, they would get reimbursed for their time. I'm using air quotes, but we don't actually know if any of them actually did it, do we? So it could just be tittle tattle.
Yeah.
It seems like the equivalent of what we in America call show up pay. You just get paid to be there.
Yeah, that's basically what the House of Lords is. Show up pay. I like that phrase. Thank you.
Nerdy Rodent is saying, just take what a single mum gets to live on for a week and double it.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all really want to know what us single parents live on for a week? Because I can tell you, I am one. It ain't much.
Maybe that should be a theme for one of Mike's next controversial episodes. And we can discuss how shit the safety nets are in both our countries.
Yeah.
Actually, that could be a really good. I like that.
Okay.
So
finally, Steve says something I agree with.
Do you want to lead the next story? Bernie Madoff is dead.
Ding dong, the motherfucking Ponzi schemer is dead. How many people he swindled? I ain't fucking sorry. My ex-husband idolized the son of a bitch. So there's a personal touch to my unbridled joy. All right. Let's see if I can figure out this. Let's see if I can figure out this screen.
This is going to go horribly wrong, isn't it? Have you actually given her control to do things?
Yes, motherfucker. What are you going to do about it? All right. Bernie Madoff, the disgraced Ponzi schemer, dies at 82. Good motherfucking riddance. Maybe his estate will run people back their money. Look at him, the unrepentant lizard.
Who was he? Because until you shared this news story on the doc, I hadn't heard of him actually.
So let me real quick. I'm going to grab you a rundown off Google. Oh, that's right. I don't have to take in Google.com.
Oh, always. Oh, you two are always so prepared. He wasn't the originator of the Ponzi scheme.
Yeah,
the originator of the Ponzi scheme was actually a guy called Ponzi, would you believe? But he was a nasty individual.
Ponzi. So basically, Bernie Madoff, he really came to more prominence. He had a penny stock brokerage in 1960, which was eventually grew into a firm called Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities. He was arrested in 2008 for, it turned out the asset management unit of the firm was a massive Ponzi scheme. So it was actually quite a large scandal. So basically, the MO of the Ponzi scheme was he would have the investment strategy, you'd purchase blue chip stocks, and you'd take options contracts on them, and which that's often called a split strike conversion or a collar. So basically, honestly, my brain hurts just really going into detail. But basically, his entire company was a massive fraud. And he was arrested. This was actually back in 2008 for the entire Ponzi scheme. And in 2009, he pleaded guilty to 11 federal felonies. And he was actually sentenced to 150 years in prison, which was the maximum sentence allowed for these white-collar crimes. And, you know, it basically assured that he was never getting out. There was going to be no good behavior. There was going to be no, you know, I believe he also went for compassionate release closer to his death. Like he, in February 2020, actually, he filed for a compassionate release on account of the pandemic. That was denied. I have to say, it is good to know that this particular white collar criminal had his ass handed to him as he so deserved. Now let's see if that'll happen to other criminals around here. Like
I was getting slightly worried then, because we must never say that we're glad that somebody has died.
I don't think that's necessarily true. When my ex-husband dies, I will piss on his grave. Anyway.
I'm just putting it out there for the sake of YouTube. We do not condone death.
Well, we can condone death. We just don't condone criminal acts publicly.
He was basically a finance. Sorry, carry on.
So for decades, he presented himself as a trusted Wall Street kingpin, but the whole time he was a fraud. That's basically what it was. The judge actually condemned his crimes as quote extraordinarily evil, unquote. So apparently he had terminal kidney disease and several other medical ailments. Well, that tends to happen when you hit 80-something years old. Yeah. But yeah, he had been in prison since 2009. So he was there for just over a decade. And really, I don't think that was long enough to suffer for his crimes. He was
basically a C word who ripped people off.
Yeah, still we're grown up. You can say cunt. Anyway.
He stole their money by promising them things that could never happen.
He promised impossible massive returns that it just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, it was kind of like a pyramid scheme. Kind of.
Yeah, Ponzi schemes. I forget the exact difference between pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes. There is a difference, but
the Ponzi scheme basically is you get people to give you lots of money with the promise that they'll get big returns. There are no big returns because they don't exist, and it relies on It relies on other people joining.
Pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
are we happy that he's, I'm not going to say the words, but let's just say he's gone to heaven?
No, he hasn't. He went to the other place. God willing, if one exists.
Gloucestershire.
I wouldn't say
the depth of your asshole.
I wouldn't say that I was happy, that he's dead. But I am happy that he's no longer able to
be on this planet.
Yeah, he's no
The threat was neutralized when he was thrown in prison, but he deserved a lot more than prison time. Maybe not as badly as some criminals.
He's no longer able to harm people. Let's put it that way.
He's pushing up the daisies,
and that is arguably a good thing.
Yeah, some people don't deserve sympathy when they finally kick the bucket.
I can go along with that. That's a phrase that I can go along with. That's a very diplomatic way of putting things.
The sympathy is not always warranted, and I'm sorry, but it's not always a bad thing to speak ill of the dead. If they did something to earn it, then by all means, talk all the shit you want. I know I will when my ex-husband dies. Hopefully soon. Stupid bastard. Anyway.
I think you've got to... I think you've just got to be a little bit careful because... there are bad people on this planet, and when they pass away, it's not a loss to the world. But we shouldn't necessarily run around waving flags and jumping up and down and celebrating.
Well, maybe not publicly, but in private.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
This is public, though.
Oh, crap, I keep forgetting you're famous now. You author, you. I've written a book.
Yes, he's a public figure. He's got to watch his commentary because he's an average Joe who wrote a book, and he's just under so much obligation to censor his opinions, right? It's almost like he's a public official. Come on now, Stool.
To be fair, I've joined Toby Young's Free Speech Union, so you better be bloody careful, okay?
Okay.
Stool's in a union, fantastic. That's just.
Have we talked enough about this guy, or can we move on?
Oh yeah, I think we definitely have. I mean, we definitely had to touch on it because his, when the scandal broke, it was big news.
Yeah. But
it was disgusting.
What you should really have here is notes for your viewers, Mike. So when Sci Niece talks about Madoff, they can look via a link to see what a Ponzi scheme is. And when you talk about Phil the Greek, they can click and look at the history. You see, I'm doing your research here for you, boy. Yet again, I'm doing your research.
Did you just call me boy?
I did, yes, because you said Gloucestershire, and I'm never going to let that drop.
You know what, Fool? You got no room calling anybody a boy when you've got the emotional maturity of a spoon. I mean, for God's sake, how long have you been ragging on my boyfriend's beard?
To be honest, I've not mentioned it in about 3 months, so something is living in your head.
Yeah, but you didn't let it go for quite a while. And I'm sure if Josh popped up on camera right now, you'd start right in on him again. He's not going to. He's in the other room, but
I know he's not brave enough. But anyway, let's continue, Mike.
Oh, you think Josh don't have no balls? Is that what you're saying?
Anywho,
the next step we're going to touch on is DMX.
Yeah.
I've
So
literally no idea what any of this means. Is this about American sports or something?
no, DMX is a rapper.
Oh, okay, well, I've no interest in this whatsoever.
As opposed to
Was
what?
a
Anyway. So this actually has a bit of a personal touch to me because how DMX died is actually very similar to how Josh's mother passed away last month. So I don't know if this has been confirmed just yet, but the reports when this first happened were that the heart attack DMX suffered that started this whole domino effect, which is really what it was. They're saying it's the result of a drug overdose. But where it draws parallels to my personal life is, so DMX had this heart attack, right? So cardiac arrest. Because of how long, it was nearly 30 minutes, he went without any blood or oxygen to his brain. Now, anyone with any medical knowledge whatsoever is aware that after about 6 to 10 minutes is when the irreversible brain damage begins after cardiac arrest. If that's why CPR time is of the essence when administering it. Because of how long he was deprived, yes, exactly, Greg, time is muscle. Because of how long he was deprived of blood and oxygen to his brain, he lost almost all brain function. It never returned. And frankly, I knew this was going to happen. The same thing happened to Josh's mother. So she went into cardiac arrest. And what happened to her, now I don't know if this happened to DMX, was she suffered brain damage and she slowly lost all brain function because she started having seizures. And her brain essentially fried itself until she died. So for about 30 minutes, he was without blood or oxygen to his brain. And the brain function, of course, never returned. So he remained on life support for about a week. And his organs slowly began to shut down. And he was 50 years old. But yeah, DMX here in America, he was quite a prominent figure in the world of rap and hip hop. So this was a huge loss. Over the course of the time he was in the hospital, his family was with him, including his multiple children. I think he has like 15 or 16 kids. Go ahead,
I
Stool.
still don't. How did you know I was going to speak? Can you see
My
me?
stool senses were tingling.
Okay, I like when that happens. Okay. Firstly, I have no idea who this person is, and I don't know what the story is. But I do appreciate it that you're bringing some American news over to me, because that's always a good thing to listen to. It broadens your horizons, and
Well, that's what learning all
it's
this British
helpful.
news, co-hosting this show, has done for me. It's mutually beneficial for both sides of the pond here.
Yeah.
Okay. But could you also just make sure that Godless Sewing knows that I'm not actually French?
Yeah, yeah, well, I married a French guy and thankfully have divorced him since. We don't talk about the French in my presence. Stool is not French because, as far as I know, he doesn't beat women or have the mental capacity of a 3-year-old.
This is all sounding very Brexity. Okay, we're not allowed to legally hate on the French. Okay,
I'm
we're
allowed
all,
to hate the French because the French have done me personal harm.
all of them.
Well, yeah,
Wow,
well,
that's a big claim.
Oh no,
Well-
no, you don't. No, I grew up in a French hating home. I'm trying to rid myself of that, but my mom, the only thing she likes involving the French is their wine.
Oh, right. Okay.
So Stool, what is so Stool? Apparently, you are so French. So, Will, why don't you know what? Take your time and explain the basis for your claim in the chat. We're definitely interested to know this. We do not make an accusation for which we cannot provide a corresponding exhibit. So feel free to get.
so patronizing. This is not a debate channel. End of story. I'm not fucking French. Now, if you want to debate that amongst yourselves, feel free to do so. But it's a technical fact that I'm not French. Okay. Now, if you both want to debate the word French, air quotes, go ahead. Be as Steve McRae and debate the word French. I don't care. I'm just here for the Philip. I'm literally only here for the Prince Philip chat. That's how sad my life is. And
yet you stuck around after the end of the Prince Philip chat. What does that say?
Listen, I've got to say one thing to Godless Sewing. I am not French, and I'll tell you why, Will. Do you want to know why? Because in France, you kiss each other, and that's racist.
Oh my God. What? Wouldn't that fall under the category of homophobia rather than racism?
I don't know. I just like winding people up. Anyway, sorry, I'll keep quiet then.
White on white racism exists, people.
Or Will on stool racism, as it were.
Yes, it does. Is this where I have to get my flag out?
Yes.
Oh, your white flag of surrender, you French fuck!
Did she actually just do that?
I did.
Anyway, DMX, Sci Niece.
Yes. So, I mean, DMX was, he made quite a mark in the world of rap, hip hop. He was known for such hits as X Gonna Give It To Ya, which, by the way, blends very well with the Reading Rainbow theme. Don't worry about why I know that.
Is that LeVar Burton?
Yes. You've heard of it.
I kind of have, but I'm not American, so I kind of get the gist of what it is about. And I think LeVar Burton does a thing for Reading Rainbow. Am I correct?
He is the host. Okay. Or was. I don't think Reading Rainbow is actually running anymore. I think they were going to bring it back.
I don't actually know what Reading Rainbow is, so forgive me. Was it a TV thing or what?
Yes, it was a children's program on, I believe, PBS.
Oh, I get it. Kind of like Sesame Street kind of thing.
Oh, it's so much better than Sesame Street. Granted, Sesame Street has gotten really annoying over the years. Let's focus on learning more on the Muppets. Don't get me wrong, I love Muppets, but obviously I love Muppets or I'd insist on your removal from the show, but...
Oh, I love the Muppets and I love Sesame Street, but I also, because I'm British, I don't really get can I say the E word, Mike?
Which E word?
The one where your willy gets big.
Erection?
I don't actually get an erection about the game show that Americans love, Jeopardy, but apparently LeVar Burton is going to be hosting one of those in a few days or weeks' time.
I think he's only guest hosting though.
I think so. As I understand it, they've had some guest hosts. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I actually don't give a shit, but the one that is actually very good maybe gets to host it forever and ever. And by forever and ever, I mean that pile of crap has been going on for decades.
It is not a pile of crap. How dare you?
I said crap with a P.
Well, it's not that either. How dare you? My sentiment stands.
Okay. Let the Lord of Gloucestershire commence.
Anyway,
this is just going to be a thing now. God damn it, Mike! You said something, and now School turned it into a thing. This is your fault.
He won't let it lie, will he? He'll never.
I just will not let it lie. They won't get that, Mike.
Yeah, that's
You'll never let it lie.
You wouldn't let it lie. You just would not let it lie.
I'm not gonna let either of you lie in a minute. Any less than 6 feet under the ground.
What you can't see now is I'm making a gesture with my hand, and it's indicating how me and no, it's not a rude one. It's indicating how me and Mike understand certain references that you will never ever get.
How dare you insinuate that I lack the capacity to an eventual understanding?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to summon the dove from above.
Anyway,
I'm going to summon my foot up your ass.
Okay. Do you want to talk about Dante Wright?
Ah, yes. This particular case of yet another cop kills yet another unarmed black person is particularly concerning. This was just a run-of-the-mill traffic stop, okay? I guess he had, I forget if he had some kind of warrant, but they went to arrest him, and I guess he was resisting. And the idiot cop is claiming, and this is the biggest load of bullshit I have heard outside of my place of employment in quite some time. This idiot cop who has been on the force, Harmonica Man and I were actually discussing this on the hiatus hangout last week. So she's been a cop for over 25 years, right? She's a union leader, quite respected on the force. She's claiming she confused her taser and her gun.
Yeah,
Mike, would
that
you
happens.
care to share a side-by-side of a taser and a gun just so we can all laugh at the stupidity here? Because, I mean, I just need to know how she came up with that story. And if anybody's believing it, they're a fucking idiot. This kid was 20 years old. He had a whole ass child. And apparently now traffic stops are cause for execution if you are not white. What a sick society we live in now. And the fact that this just had to happen in the wake of a very highly publicized trial that we'll be discussing shortly. Now, to their credit, the police force has charged her. So, yeah, there's a taser on the right and there's a gun on the left. There's no confusing that.
No.
And with American cops, the taser and the gun are usually holstered on different sides of the body.
Yeah.
If anybody thinks that I should believe it was an accident, I wholeheartedly invite them to come on over to Philadelphia and say that to my face so that I can knock them in theirs. Because what the fuck?
That's got to be one of the... I'm slightly familiar with this story, but that's got to be one of the dumbest fucking lies ever.
Exactly. That's the thing. You know, lies fall into a whole big spectrum of, you know, the outrageous, the just plain dumb. And this just falls under so stupid it's outrageous. If you expect anybody to believe that, it's just insulting. Quite frankly. So she has been arrested and charged. I don't think she's been charged with the correct offense, but that's just my opinion. And in the wake of certain events we'll be discussing, we'll just have to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
So she's been charged with second-degree manslaughter. I'm sorry, but that's not enough of a charge. Just for the simple fact that her story is so obviously bullshit. So, of course, as has been happening quite recently, every time this happens, there is now more unrest, more protesting, eventually going to be more, well, shut up. Even I don't think that's a good idea. Wilson,
So
Count Babyface, Mayor of London.
Has this little segment finished, or do I need to wait?
That depends. What are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for the bit that you're both hinting at. I know you're keeping it secret until the last bit.
Well, yeah, because we're not going to go sit there and spoil like you do.
I haven't spoiled myself until a couple of hours ago.
Ah. But Robert
I'm sorry,
X
what?
is...
You sold yourself? What? Anyway.
Robert
So
X
she's
is...
been charged with second-degree manslaughter. Manslaughter and murder, very different charges. Yeah, first degree is intentional and planned. And that's all fine and dandy. I mean, I definitely don't think this warrants first degree, but rather than manslaughter, this really should be murder for the simple fact that she's telling such a ridiculous lie to cover it up.
For the benefit of... I don't want to make references to a certain other case that has just happened because I don't want to spoil Mike's fun. But there is I can smell where you're going with this one. But there is a huge difference between the American and the, let's say, English legal system of law.
Yeah.
So when you talk about first degree, second degree, whatever, they kind of mean very different things over here. So I think this is why a lot of the racists over here are getting very annoyed. Because I'll save it for later. I'm Phil. I'm Greek. Carry on.
Well, so she's been fired and charged, but she was released on $100,000 bail, which I think is stupid, personally. I'm sorry, you kill somebody. Why the fuck are you getting any kind of bail? So, protesters are throwing bottles and other projectiles at cops.
Mike, yes. I don't think she's realised what's bottom right of the screen.
Hey?
The picture bottom right.
What am I looking at?
The boy band that turned the world tartan.
The lead singer of the Bay City Rollers died today.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I don't know who that is, but that's a shame.
That's breaking news.
Yeah, that's how shit we are in this country. That's literally breaking news. Somebody died.
The first time news has literally broken during stream. What a momentous occasion.
Well, to be fair, it happened about 12 hours ago. So
yeah, it didn't happen during the stream, but it happened like Stool said, about 12 hours ago.
But that is actually quite a sad moment for people who were alive during those years. I'm just saying, whatever. Continue.
Yeah. Yes.
You both miss me so much. I just bring an extra special something to this mix.
Yeah, you're special, all right, but not in the sense you're thinking.
Oh, so are
Anyway.
you accusing me of being special like Prince Philip's mother? Because that's not nice.
No, Stool. I'm accusing you of being special like this cop's story of I confused my taser and my gun.
Oh, are we still doing that story? Okay, carry on.
Yeah.
So essentially the reason she was charged with manslaughter is in Minnesota state law, a person can be found guilty of second-degree manslaughter if they can be proven to have shown culpable negligence whereby they create an unreasonable risk and consciously take chances of causing death or great bodily harm to someone else. So, I mean, that's... I'm not sure how I feel about that for the simple fact that I don't believe for 1 second she mistook her taser for her gun and taser. There's no way she confused the two.
Yeah,
Now,
well, this is
unfortunately,
it.
that matter remains to be seen at trial. That's if the prosecution is hopefully calling bullshit, then that will be on them to prove. As we all know, in America, all are innocent until proven guilty. Granted, that's an antiquated standard with the kind of proof it takes to even get an arrest warrant these days, but our Constitution is as it is and has not been amended as of yet. Therefore, so she's due to make her first court. Oh, today she was due to make her first court appearance. I should have skimmed around for some updates before we started. So we'll have to.
That's what a professional would have done.
You know what, Stool? This professional is overworked and exhausted. Do you have any idea how many hours I pull a night on average? Mike knows. All I do is work and sleep. I just woke up not too long before I got in here.
Anyway, so
you don't understand the third shift life, you lucky fuck. So the maximum sentence here, if convicted, 10 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. That's not enough, if you ask me. But what do I know? I'm just someone with a goddamn brain and some morals. So they'll have to show that she was culpably negligent and took an unreasonable risk. Well, I would say she took an unreasonable risk and how fucking stupid she was in coming up with that lie. Nobody confuses a taser and a gun. It doesn't happen. Not when you... I mean, the bitch was a cop for almost 30 years. That's what really gets me here. I can understand being a real bonehead. No, I can't kill Stool on a live stream, Robert. That's not possible. Unfortunately, I'm an ocean away from him, and I don't have a passport. But yeah, what gets me with this particular case, what causes me to say the story is the biggest crock of bullshit that's broken this week. She was a cop for over 25 years. I'm sorry, but you lose the I confused the taser and the gun defense once you're about maybe 8 years old. I think old enough to learn the difference.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on because let's move on to the Chauvin case.
Oh,
yes,
I did not expect this.
Neither did I, frankly. I'm not going to lie.
Totally off the cuff. Are you winging it here now, Mike? Because I did not expect this.
Not at all.
That's your sarcastic ass. So, in an unexpected, relieving turn of events for us Americans, really, we shouldn't have been on the edge of our seats like we were. April 20th, Derek Chauvin was found guilty of murder and manslaughter. He was charged with I believe, second and third degree murder and second degree manslaughter in the case of the death of George Floyd. A lot of people, reasonably so, were not expecting a conviction because of how these things usually turn out. Were you about to say something, Mike?
Yeah, I think I just want to explain quickly the charges.
Good luck with this one.
This is from. This is an explanation from TLDR News. They're a really good news channel on YouTube. If you want, you should really check those, those guys out because they're really good. But this is how they describe these charges. So, second-degree murder is unintentional killing during a felony. Not enough to warrant a first-degree felony murder. Then
there wasn't a plot. There wasn't malice aforethought. Just, once he started, he didn't fucking stop.
Then there's third-degree murder, eminently dangerous act with a disregard for another's life. And then there's second-degree manslaughter, gross negligence. Created an unreasonable risk that Floyd would die. And he's been found. Derek Chauvin has been found guilty on all three.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the interesting thing.
Say, when they announced that the verdict had been reached and that they were going to be announcing it, honestly, the first thing I did was on my Nintendo Switch, I have the Hulu app, and I do get some news live streaming. The first thing I did was turn on the live stream because I wasn't missing this. I mean, this was actually quite a historic moment. It is a spark of hope, Ox, you're right. But, the sentence is really what's going to say for sure. So, he's been found guilty of murder and manslaughter for the knee on the neck.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about, because this is what British people, and by British people, I mean English people who are racist, they don't understand why. They seem to think that it was some kind of evil plot because there were 3 charges. But this is the difference between
people who are racist think similar things, Strool. If that's any.
I know, but this is the difference between English/Welsh law and American law. Because as I understand it, and I could be wrong, if they were to just stick him in court and charge him with one of those offences, if the jury decides he's innocent, he walks away and he can't be brought back again on that crime ever again.
Yeah, that's double jeopardy.
Right. Well, that's not a thing in this country, and that's what the English people don't understand. So that is very interesting. So the fact that he was found not innocent by the jury on all 3 of those counts means that he's absolutely
being found innocent, being found versus being found not guilty. I believe they're actually 2 separate verdicts. I may be wrong, but
as I understand it, and I'm not a legal person, as you know, but if they'd just brought whatever the biggest crime of that menu was, and if the jury had decided that he was not guilty of that crime, then that alleged crime can't be brought back into court, and that's the end of it. He gets to walk away free. It can't be brought back into court ever again.
Yes and no. You can't be charged with the exact same charge, but depending on the details of the offense, you might be able to get a lesser conviction But no, for the most part, double jeopardy is interpreted to mean once you're acquitted, you're never coming back in for that.
Yeah, I think that's the term that I'm familiar with, double jeopardy, and that's not a thing in the English legal system. So this is why, to all my English friends, not that I actually have any, but that's why they had to have the 3 separate counts.
Yeah.
At the same time. And luckily, in my opinion, he was found guilty on all 3 counts. And
no, School, you're right. It is sheer dumb luck. It is sheer dumb luck. In our society, my mom actually tweeted a very good point. There's a very good chance, because of the huge issue of systemic racism and near impunity for white cops in our law enforcement culture, there's a very good chance that had the entire thing not been caught on video, he might not even have been charged.
No, he would not have been charged. No, absolutely not. You know, so, I feel sorry for the
from the police.
The young lady who shot that video, she was 17 at the time. And her life is probably going to be fucked up forever because of the consequences of what she did. But accidentally, she did a good thing. And as I understand it, because it was 3 charges. Yeah, absolutely. And because of the 3 charges that he's been convicted of, he's going to have to serve those sentences. You're going to have to help me out here, Mike. I don't want you to say Gloucestershire, but he will be serving them concurrently. Is that the correct word? Rather than all at the same time.
Concurrently is the same time. Consecutively is one after the other. Now,
okay, so he's doing consecutively, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think you're hoping for consecutive, not concurrent. Concurrent really is not an ideal outcome in my opinion.
Basically, to put this into really simple terms, he's got 3 sentences that run after each other. So he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life.
Basically,
that's what we're hoping for, yes.
And as I understand it, because he's a police person, he won't go to normal prison. He'll be put in a special prison where he's protected from the people who want to kill him.
It's not a special prison. It's a special designation within the prison, which I don't, I don't like the idea. I've always had the opinion that in certain cases, I am pro death penalty in egregious cases with irrefutable evidence. This is one of those. Now, unfortunately, Minnesota is not a state that has the death penalty. But honestly, you could do the next best thing. Ox said what I've been thinking. It shouldn't be a mistake, but no, he needs to go to Gen Pop. That's when he'll get what he really deserves. The people in there for the rest of their lives will take matters into their hands, and that will be that. Unfortunately, I don't have much hope for that because, prison guards and cops are pretty closely knit.
But surely that's just not a good thing because that's revenge.
Yeah. Well, sometimes revenge is warranted. I don't believe the high road is always the correct path. Sometimes the low road is the only way sometimes the low road is the only path to the desired goal.
But yeah, you must always have to try to remember that it could happen to anybody, any one of us, where we find ourselves in a court of law and we could be innocent of doing nothing. And so we're entitled, as much as anybody is in a decent democracy, to make it be proven that we've undoubtedly committed a crime.
Well, that's where the standard in our justice system, in the difference between civil and criminal cases, is civil cases are decided by a preponderance of the evidence. Criminal convictions require there to be proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That is why we have that standard.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that beyond a reasonable doubt standard and the evolution of the kinds of evidence available to us, it is a lot harder to secure a conviction, which has been both a blessing and a curse.
The only reason I'm dwelling on this is because humans are shit and humans can make mistakes. Humans are shit and they can make mistakes. And so you would not, I suggest, you wouldn't want to submit somebody to a life imprisonment or even worse, death, if it could be a mistake.
Yeah,
that's my only thing about this.
Well, in this case,
we do make mistakes. We really do make mistakes. So, you know, do you want to put somebody to death based on, I don't know, a mistake or a bit of confirmation bias or whatever? That would be
not a
horrendous thing to do. No, I'm not saying this is a mistake, but in general.
Well, no, in the bigger picture stool, yes, I agree with you. In the bigger picture stool, yeah, you're right. But in this case, in the case of Chauvin, you know, there was hard video evidence, multiple witnesses. Even the paramedics pulled up and they're telling him, "Get off him! What the hell's wrong with you?"
Yeah, I've seen the stuff, but here is my thing. Obviously, you seem to think that in certain circumstances the death penalty is warranted. I disagree with that massively.
That's fine. But the specifics are, it has to be an egregious offense, and the evidence must be irrefutable. Like there cannot be any chance that something will pop up proving you didn't do what you were charged with.
But here is my problem. Here is my problem with that. You can have all the evidence at your fingertips, and it can be 100% yes, he did it. Let's execute him. And then in 10 years or 20 years' time, oh crap, we didn't see this little bit of evidence. So you've got to be a bit careful, surely. You know, when you're thinking about killing people just for, and this is basically revenge. That's what you're talking about now. You're talking about getting revenge on somebody. And
I'll be the first to admit I'm a petty, vengeful bitch.
Well, you've got to be slightly careful about that because, you know, you can be the nicest person on the planet and people
like I am.
can, yeah, whatever. You can be the nicest person on the planet and make no mistakes in your life, and you can be hanged. Not anymore in this country, but up until 1963, you could be hanged. And there are countless cases of decades later, oh shit, we got it wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, we've been talking for almost 1 hour and 15 minutes, and this is just catching up with stuff that we missed. So let's move. Let's move on.
If there isn't a story about cats at the end of this, I'm going to be really pissed off.
As a matter of fact, there is a story about a cat at the end of this.
Oh, I hate you two. You've got all the secrets. Is it a ginger one that got stuck up a chimney?
I'm just trying to bring you some comfort here, Stool. I'm being nice to you. Take it and run.
But so we're going to move on to the news,
Drum
the
roll,
part of the part of the show that I call Tory Twats.
Oh, I do like a new feature. Oh my God, I just laughed. You actually did something correctly there. You actually timed that correctly. You're getting good at this.
And
Don't let being an author go to your head.
So the first
Gloucestershire.
let's just share the screen and we'll talk about it. Yeah, we're going to talk about the green seal scandal.
Oh my gosh, no. This will really bore the Americans.
Government orders inquiry into Cameron lobbying. That's going
Lobbering?
Yes. There's David Cameron, our former Prime Minister.
Yeah,
and
fuck him.
What?
Sorry, I was just shouting. Never mind.
Okay.
It's not loading on my end.
Sorry?
There he is. Oh my God, his face is too small for his head.
And so basically, after he stopped being Prime Minister, he started working for this company called Green Seal.
Well, look at it. Am I wrong?
Oh dear, what's happening? Are you okay?
The noises that she's making sound very much similar to when David Cameron put his penis into a pig's mouth.
Allegedly.
Except it's not allegedly, it's a fact.
But anyway, the article says number 10 is the
I've never actually, just to interrupt slightly, I've never in my life said pig fucker in a stream before, so I'm just putting this out there, okay?
Okay. Number 10 is to launch an independent investigation into former Prime Minister David Cameron's lobbying for that now collapsed Green Seal and the role of the scandal hit financer Lex Greensill in government.
Because Lex is totally not an evil name.
No, totally not.
Oh no, totally.
The independent review, commissioned by Boris Johnson, will be led by the legal expert Nigel Boardman, a non-executive board member of the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. It will look at the development and use of supply chain finance offered by Greensill and its associated activities in government and the role of Greensill played in those. So, yeah.
To be fair, Mike, I appreciate that you've actually done some research into this, which is not very like you because you're a lazy ass. But I think recent events have slightly overturned this story.
Yeah.
With all the corruption and what have you. I'm not going to say James Dyson, but whatever.
Oh, well, yes, that's we're going to talk about that next week, I think, because I didn't include it. I didn't include it this time because we've got so many stories to talk, so many other stories to talk about already. But you're right, Stoll. You know, the Dyson thing is huge as well.
It's huge, but it doesn't work, and its wheels fall off.
Well, yeah,
that was a joke about Dyson vacuum cleaners.
We touched. Is it as huge as that?
So basically, just to summarize, this is what David Cameron.
Stupid.
He texted the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, asking for the company to be included in a COVID-related government loan scheme. He also contacted Treasury Ministers Jesse Norman and John Glenn about the company. He met Health Secretary Matt Hancock along with Lex Greensill for a private drink to discuss a new payment scheme for the NHS staff. And so this is what the inquiry is all about.
Yeah, to be fair, this story is now about a week old, and a million more shit tons of corruption have happened since. So,
yes, that's true. I just want to share what Lord Adonis tweeted about this as well, because it's relatively interesting.
Relatively,
yeah.
I want at least 15% interest.
I don't know if it. Yes, here we go. Do. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, cool! A free invitation to roast stool some more.
Now here we go. He said this is a photograph of when they were in Oxford together, and the tweet says the one on the right, in other words, Boris Johnson, has just announced a review into the dodgy dealings on the one on the left. Why do I doubt it will be thorough and impartial?
Why do I get the feeling that question is not rhetorical and you're about to answer it?
It wasn't actually Oxford. I think that was Eton.
No, this is that's a photo. There was a photo from their Oxford days.
That was the Bullingdon boys, wasn't
it? Yeah, the Bullingdon boys. Correct.
And what an absolute cesspit of utter wank.
And this is what you were alluding to earlier when you were accusing David Cameron of putting his manhood into
Excuse me, Mike. I've never accused anybody. I just heard rumors.
Because apparently,
that's why you said it was a fact, right, Stool?
Yeah, that is part of the initiation. That is part of the initiation process for joining this exclusive Bulletin Boys club within Oxford University.
Bulletin Boys. That just sounds like a variation of good old boys. That's what we have here.
Yeah. So
I think what you need to tell the nice ladies and gentlemen, Mike, is the Bullingdon Club is basically a cesspit of white privilege claptrap. And one of the famous stories that are true, not hearsay, is when they go out to prove their wealth. And these are kids, they're at university or whatever you want to call it. And you're familiar with this story, Mike. And when they saw a homeless person and they got out a £50 note out of their pocket, of which they had many notes, not pockets. I had no idea how many pockets they had, and set fire to it in front of a homeless person. These are fucking sick, vile people. Very sick fuckers. And that's our Prime Minister.
Yeah. And actually, I think we can talk.
Oh, God.
I think we can talk about the Dyson thing. Let me just bring it up real quick.
That is literally what she said.
Yeah. Boris Johnson says he makes no apology after Labour accuses him of stench of sleaze over texts to James Dyson as it happened. Boris Johnson.
Oh, Boris Johnson.
He will
I'll
publish
say
his
what I said to you in the DMs, Mike. I'm getting to the point where I'm honestly embarrassed that waste of life breathes the same oxygen as the rest of us.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But you know, you're familiar with this story, Stool. What what's the beef? What's happening? What
With which
happened?
particular story? I mean, there were so many.
I think I'm going to order dinner while we're here.
The James Dyson story. Didn't he text?
Oh,
he texted.
James, basically, James Dyson, who is a cunt.
Yeah, he still used a big boy word.
He used his secret access to Johnson's personal phone to ask for tax favors. This was when, in 2020, there was a crisis and we needed ventilators for COVID. And
we still need those.
And Dyson basically said, yeah, okay, but I need a tax break. So it's kind of shitty and it's more sleaze and it's just an extra little topping on the extra cake of sleaze that these idiots in charge do. They give, I mean, you can look into, I'm not going to do it because I can't be asked, but you can look into the facts and figures. Who got all the contracts during the initial pandemic scare? Who got all the contracts without any scrutiny? It was the friends of the Conservatives. It was the Tory donors. It's a massive, massive, huge bag of corruption and sleaze. And Dyson is a cunt. He is an absolute cunt, regardless of what people say. His vacuum cleaners, firstly, are shit. They don't fucking work.
Oh dear.
He charges a fucking fortune for them and they don't fucking work. But he invented a new technology. He invented a new thing called cyclone technology. And people buy his vacuum cleaners. Why do they buy them? Because they have pretty colours. So he fucked off after the Brexit shit to Singapore.
That's right, yeah.
Because he doesn't have to pay enough. He doesn't have to pay tax. He's a lying piece of cunt. Simple as.
This channel's never going to be monetized.
Which piece? The labia majora, the labia minora, the clitoris, the clitoral hood, the vulva.
You don't need this channel to be monetized, Mike, because you're now a famous author. Okay.
Okay.
This is just your hobby now.
What's your point, Stool?
But I want to share this tweet from Haggis UK because it's quite well. You'll see for yourself. He shared some footage from
in private channels, and Boris Johnson's phone should be preserved for his family, his friends, and his mistresses. It should not be used for public business.
On that.
Well, look, yeah,
This is actually a good point because if you're clever and you remember long enough ago, you'll remember that President Obama was not allowed to have a personal cell phone because of security risks and issues and what have you. This fucking dildo.
Oh yes, and Hillary Clinton. Better emails, better emails, better emails.
This fucking dildo is still using the same fucking phone number that he's been using for 20 years. So
Don't you think that's an insult to dildos? At least dildos serve a purpose.
any Russian or any prostitute or I'm not kind of hinting at things here, but literally anybody who's slightly dodgy can phone him or text him, and he's in charge of this fucking country. Think about that.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from Tory twats to
Is this now the cat story?
No, not yet.
Oh fuck!
No cat story. Not yet.
To
I promise
Labour
you'll like cat story.
to Labour woes.
You're getting really good at that.
Things have changed since the last time you decided to show your sorry face on our show, Stool. Mike has made a lot of nice improvements, and we've made designated segments. It's quite a coherent flow here.
Yeah.
You should be proud. Not that you're
Okay.
capable of such things.
So I'm just going to share this because Keir Starmer was thrown out of a pub.
This is. Oh, I've interrupted again. This is why I enjoy this, because I like to guess what you're going to say next.
I've been a Labour voter my entire life. You have failed to be the opposition. You have failed to ask whether lockdown was functioning.
Just behind. Can we just?
Do you understand?
Can we go on in?
Thousands of people have died because you have failed to do your job and ask the real questions. Well, I am telling you now, and I hope this goes out, you have failed this country. That man is not allowed in my pub. Get out of my pub. Go on. Get out of my pub. Sorry. I've been a Labour voter my entire.
So yeah, there you have it.
Yeah, the Americans are not really going to understand this one.
I love when corrupt politicians get some sort of just desserts thrown out of a bar. I love it.
Yeah, but that's not what actually happened.
What's the real story?
I'm glad you asked, Mike.
Oh, Jesus
Go on,
Christ.
then.
I kind of need some kind of zingy title now. When you introduce me for my opinion, can I have a zingy title, please?
No.
And with
No,
some
that has to
music.
be a unanimous decision. I vote no, so no.
Can I have some flags? Can I have some flags in the background?
No.
We'll call it Stool's
The only thing you
Patriotic
can-
Opinion.
Have is a dick Photoshop in your mouth.
Okay. Well, what's the real story?
He basically, the guy who owns that pub is a penis. He's
Not pulling any punches.
No, I never do. And yes, I
When
do
does he
feel
ever?
sorry. I do feel sorry for people that have lost their business or their trade or their customers during this pandemic. Of course I do. I would be a dick if I didn't. But the
You're a
guy,
dick anyway.
the landlord of that pub is a fan of Toby Young and a fan of lockdown skeptics. So I'm not going to take him seriously whatsoever. He's a dick.
Well, even broken clocks are right
There was
twice a
actually-
day.
I'm not. I don't know if his pub is a part of a chain. I think it is, but somebody made an official statement and said he does not speak for this organisation. He's just a dick. He's been indoctrinated with the lockdown skeptics Toby Young nonsense, and as far as I've seen, Starmer went into a place, got abuse, didn't do anything wrong. His personal bodyguard, which he's entitled to as the leader of the opposition party, the government pays for it, stepped in
Clarify
and
that
said,
anti-common sense to fight.
You just went weird. So his personal body protection officer stepped in and said, not with words, but said, look, you can't punch him because if you do, we're going to arrest you. And it was a 5 minute, not even a 5 minute, it was like a 10-second kerfuffle. And Starmer said, look, my wife works for the NHS, so don't give me any bullshit.
Right.
That's pretty much the story.
But could this be Keir Starmer's bigoted woman moment?
Oh, that was a nice reference. Oh, well done, Mike. Well done.
Oh my God, Stool was nice to Mike. I love it.
No, I don't believe. No, the thing is, I get Mike's references because he's British. No, I don't think so. I honestly do not see that Starmer did anything wrong whatsoever. Obviously, the right wing fucking outrage porn merchants are selling this as much as they can, but he did nothing wrong.
Well, neither did Gordon Brown, arguably. He
Bill Clinton did not have sexual relations with that woman.
but just for some context, Gordon Brown, our former Prime Minister, he was out and about.
Whoa. Hang on. Do you want to rewind and edit this?
Why?
Gordon Brown was never our Prime Minister.
He was.
He wasn't.
He was.
Are you sure?
Oh, for
Yes.
God's sake, children, I will turn this stream around.
Are you absolutely sure about this? Because I'm now worrying about my own sanity.
What sanity?
He took over from Tony Blair.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, I'm
Breaking
so bad.
news. Stool was proven wrong. This shouldn't be news.
I'd completely forgot. I still don't believe that.
He took over as leader of the Labour Party from 2007 to 2010, and so therefore,
because you don't.
He was
doesn't make it not
oh dear, something's
true.
Something's happening to Sci Niece, but he was de facto Prime Minister for that period of time. Yeah.
Oh, you just said de facto. No, he was never our Prime Minister.
He was.
Are you sure about this?
I'm certain. Yeah.
Was I asleep during these years?
You must have been. But anyway,
he was only ever Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Right here.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I'm actually arguing about who was the Prime Minister of my own country. So, yeah, me.
You're not living this down.
Yeah. James Gordon Brown is a British politician who served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
What is with these politicians and these damn big foreheads?
And leader of the Labour Party from 2007 to 2010. He served as Chancellor of the Exchequer in the Blair government from 1997 to 2007. Brown was an MP from 1983 to 2015, first for Dunfermline East and later for Kirkcaldy and Cowden.
I'm really not going to let this go. And I can't read that small text. So when was he our Prime Minister?
From 2007 to 2010.
When he became the leader of the Labour Party.
And were the Labour Party in charge at the time?
Yes, they were, yeah.
So he was our Prime Minister?
Yeah.
Fuck. I think I've had a stroke.
Yeah. Anywho.
You are a stroke.
I can't believe we've just spent about 10 minutes talking about this. But he was out and about, and he met up with this woman, and who took him to task on a few things, and then he forgot to turn his mic off, and because he said
Mike.
he said, "Oh, I've just had this really terrible interview with some bigoted woman," and to be fair, she did have some rather bigoted views, so he wasn't wrong. Arguably, he wasn't. He didn't do anything wrong. Just like Keir Starmer did nothing wrong.
This is why you must never trust these idiots with technology. One of the things that I remember was Cameron. I think it was when he said, "Okay, I fucked up Brexit. I'm resigning." And
why should I do the hard shit?
But this was on a live TV broadcast.
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay, fucked up, I'm resigning." And as he turned around and walked back into number 10, he hummed a song.
Do, 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 do.
And I remember this because I was watching it live, and I can't remember the exact song. It was either "I'm in the Money."
I just hummed it for you.
Or
do, do, do.
Was it that one?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it might have been "Money, Money, Money" by ABBA.
I recognize this tune.
But anyway, I think we're coming up on 1 hour 40, 42 minutes. So let's.
And we haven't even gotten to ridiculous Republicans.
No.
This is a very important segment.
Well, okay, just one. Yeah, we'll just do one ridiculous Republican,
and then we'll do the one in there. Let me see what we got. I got the Google Doc pulled up. So ridiculous Republicans.
Which one do you want to do?
Let's go with. I think let's go with the real ridiculous one. Some of the Capitol rioters are now using something called a journalism defense.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, just wait.
Okay, so
you sad little puppy.
Hey, let the record show that music was my idea.
Okay.
That was my little idea bunny.
That makes sense.
Do you want to? Okay, go ahead.
So we all know that on January 6th, 2021, a bunch of Trump supporting babicias, that's my new favorite word, Stool, you've missed a lot, the babicias created a trove of self-incriminating evidence. Like, they thoroughly documented their entire shenanigan, videos, social media. I mean, this is the kind of thing my mother always used to say, you kids are getting dumber and dumber because you're committing crimes and filming yourselves doing it. Well, this is a prime example. Now, these people are claiming I'll wait for everybody to just, I'll give everybody a minute to laugh hysterically before we continue. I'll just, I'll wait for everybody to finish laughing because I know I did when I saw this. So now it's pretty damn unlikely that this is going to be a viable defense. It's the reason that I stuck this article in the ridiculous Republican segment is not because I think this has any shot in hell of succeeding. This is just, they're stupid, and now we're in the process of erecting neon signs above their heads that have big flashing arrows pointing down at them that say, I'm a fucking moron, in my professional stupid bashing opinion. So they're trying to say that, oh, this was freedom of the press. Here, if the video's capitalism is supposed to be, so the problem is, the internet has broadened the definition of a journalist, not to mention the elimination of the fairness doctrine during the Reagan era. So that just opened a floodgate for people to actually try this. So at least 8 people charged in this riot are trying to self-identify as a journalist. No, I am not a robot.
It's a very right-wing, let's rephrase that. It's a very far-right thing to call yourself, I think the new term is citizen journalist. And Mike will be familiar with this name, but Tommy Robinson is now in court on trial. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about it, but he's now claiming that he's a citizen journalist. It's a very, very old tactic.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that anybody would try this is news to me, but that just probably speaks to my youth here compared to the two of you, grandpas. So, yeah, never again is absolutely right. Everybody walks around streaming on their phones like idiots. For once, I'm streaming on a computer, so Stool should be proud of me. I'm not using my phone for that.
I think she did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I called you guys old. But see, with Mike, I tease out of love. With you, it's a combination of contempt and grudging respect, depending on the moment in time.
Okay.
So they're identifying themselves as journalists or documentary filmmakers, including 3 people that were arrested this month. So I just need to know how many more people are going to jump on this bandwagon. This is something that I'm actually going to be following quite closely. So this is nearly 400 federal cases.
It's a very old tactic. If you're familiar with I'm going to use air quotes here, and I can't remember how to pronounce his surname, but Andy, it's spelled NGO.
Go, I think it is.
He's basically a far-right piece of shit who makes his money by telling lies. And he calls himself...
Oh, like as opposed to what with the far right?
He calls himself a citizen journalist, but he's basically a lying sack of shit.
We have Alex Jones.
Yeah, exactly. So the basic premise is you can go out, record something with your shitty iPhone, or even if you've got some backers and you've got some nice kind of equipment, not a euphemism, you can put this out there and it's utter bullshit and utter lies, but you can call yourself a citizen journalist. Because that will teach the libs on the, quote, MSM.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. 40 is not old. No, Stool is old. Stool is so old that if he was a woman, his titties would secrete powdered milk.
Ew.
So one defendant
I
told the
don't know where
authorities
that
he was
came
inside the
from.
Capitol as part of his work in life.
Where did that come from? You're
Oh,
doing
I just felt
news.
like insulting.
You were both doing really well and sounding really
I
professional.
was reading the side chat. Am I not allowed to do that?
I know you're
I would think
talking
that's
about
like part of good co-hosting.
I don't have titties. I'm a boy. You
Actually, men do have breast tissue. Did you know it is possible for men to develop breast cancer?
yes, but where is this? This is weird. Mike, I need to have a very serious conversation with you about your co-host. I do believe she has issues.
But the thing is, she's Paul Merton and I'm Ian Hislop.
Oh, you reckon?
No, what I mean is she's the funny one and I'm the straight guy.
Yeah, okay. I kind of have
Pretty
issues
much.
with
I'm
both of
the
those
snarky,
descriptions,
sarcastic
to be
asshole
honest.
who roasts everybody. I mean, Stool, did you watch the week that we went over all the candidates running for mayor of London? I had something horrible to say about pretty much every one of them. That bitch's eyebrows are something I'm still not over, by the way, Mike. Anyway, so one defendant has told the authorities he was inside the Capitol building as part of his work in live streaming video at protests, and he's since argued that he was there as a journalist. Well, that didn't work on the FBI because he's a plumber. Charged with joining and demonstrating in the Capitol while Congress was in session. Robert, are you sure you agree with the straight part? No, let me not.
Just to interject, because you talked about the London mayoral race. Mike might not be aware of this, but breaking news, and by breaking I mean like about 12 hours ago, but Lawrence Fox
Again.
and Richard Tice.
I'm on the audio right now. What?
They both have equally stupid, pointless, pretend political parties, but they've now formed a coalition.
Yes.
Oh my God.
To take over London and to, quote, give London its freedom.
Yes. But do you know why they've done this?
Freedom.
I know, yeah.
Oh, this we have to touch on. This we've got to touch on next week.
Yeah.
Stool,
But the basic,
you need to get us some articles for this. Slide in our DMs, please.
But basically, sorry, go on.
So, yeah, this is just one example. His name is Sean. It's probably Witzeman, I guess. It looks kind of stereotypically Jewish, so it's probably pronounced Witzeman. So he was charged with joining and demonstrating in the Capitol while Congress was certifying Joe Biden's electoral victory. I seek truth. I speak to sources. I document. I provide commentary. It's everything that a journalist is. You know what else a journalist is? Educated in something other than plumbing, Mario.
And also, real journalists don't tend to break into the Capitol building and attempt to cause an insurrection.
The real journalists were standing outside reporting on the ongoing matter. I remember the day it happened. It was one of the few times in history I have ever agreed with the owner of the establishment that employs me. Because we're standing at the front desk, because this broke, and I ran in the back. Raj, come here, look at this. And we're standing in the office, and he's just like, they need to accept that it's over. Keep in mind, the owner is a Trump supporter. I am very much not so. And we actually came to that agreement. So that was a historic moment in my personal history. So he's got a nightly news show. Not that I doubt that's not that I think that's much competition for us. It's titled The Armenian Council for Truth in Journalism. Satirically, his attorney says. He's got just over 300 subscribers. Oh, Mike, I do hope you have more than that. The show
Not
says
quite.
it delivers irreverent and thought-provoking commentary and analysis on an eclectic range of subjects. Well, that just sounds like we might have some competition with an accused felon.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Oh
no. Another defendant
oh dear. Have we lost
works
you?
for InfoWars, the right-wing website operated by Alex Jones. Political. Well, that should murder the media news. But while the internet has given more people a platform, read soapbox, the definition of a journalist is not that broad in court. And this is where I say this, I'm a journalist defense, probably. So it's an easy case to make that they were not journalists because reporters and photographers must have credentials. Somehow I don't think any of these motherfuckers have credentials.
You're breaking up, Sci Niece.
So what the fuck? I thought my Wi-Fi was okay. So essentially, am I coming through a little clearer now?
Yes, yeah. You are at the moment, yeah.
Okay. So essentially, the legal definition of a journalist makes it so that this defense is not going to fly.
Yeah.
So it's because you have to have credentials to be considered a journalist on federal property like the White House, Capitol Hill, etc. So any defendant captured on video encouraging rioters, and there's a lot of that, you can't credibly say you're a journalist, essentially. So you are at that point an activist with a cell phone, and there were a lot of activists with copyrighted videos who sold them to news organizations, but that doesn't make them journalists. And even credentialed journalists are not immune from prosecution if they break a law on the job. So it's not even a get out of jail free card. So I don't know what these morons were thinking, or a better question would probably be if they were thinking.
Yeah.
Samuel Montoya, no relation to Inigo, was arrested Tuesday in Texas. Oh God, on charges including impeding passage through the Capitol grounds. And he was on InfoWars talking about witnessing a cop shooting and killing that woman. I think her name was Ashley Babbitt inside the Capitol. And he also recorded and narrated a video while walking through the building, occasionally referring to himself as a journalist while wearing a MAGA hat. Okay, MAGA or maggots are pretty much against the media. You can't wear a MAGA hat and then claim to be a journalist. That is what we call an oxymoron. Emphasis on moron. So a judge basically said, because he told the judge he works for InfoWars, and Alex Jones was also in Washington that day. Why am I not shocked? He has not been charged in the riot, but actually he was at Montoya asked if he went back to work or contacted Jones would violate the pretrial release conditions. So the judge basically said, you know, okay, I get what you're asking because this was also a news event, and okay, this is a stretch. You work in the news or information business. InfoWars is not news. But this is a line you're going to have to be careful of on your own, is what the judge said. Far-right internet troll Baked Alaska was arrested less than 2 weeks after the riot, streamed live video that showed himself inside the Capitol, and he encouraged other protesters to stay. He profanely called an officer an oathbreaker and chanted, "Whose house? Our house." And of course they dispute that guy is a journalist. He was a former BuzzFeed employee, and he only went to Washington to film what happened. So this is what he does. The January 6th was no different, according to his lawyer. Another defendant leads the protest organizing group Insurgents USA and identifies himself as an activist and journalist who films protests, according to the FBI. This one's lawyer challenged court-ordered restrictions on his use of the internet and social media. Supposedly, he is legitimately self-employed and as a documentarian, and it is oppressive, I do hate when they use that word, to require that he not be allowed to continue his primary area of employment for an extended period of time. Motherfucker, my job is hiring, so I don't want to hear it. So he attached receipts for work that the guy's done for CNN and other news outlets. The question is, how long ago was that? That I have yet to look into. So, Witzman's lawyer is arguing that prohibiting him from leaving New Mexico would violate his First Amendment rights as a freelance journalist. Have you heard of Zoom, buddy? So the charges include violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. So after his arrest, he basically said, oh no, others breached the barricades before he got there. My goal was to get right up to the front of the action, so to speak, to film it. You know, given the nature of it, you can't call yourself a respectable journalist. Others, identifying as journalists, have been tied to an extremist group or movement by federal authorities. For example, Nicholas DiCarlo and Nicholas Ox, they are claiming they're journalists, according to and so real journalists don't vandalize shit. When authorities later searched DiCarlo's home, they found a framed photo of DiCarlo and Ox posing in front of the door with a thumbs up. So they're pretty proud of what they did. Okay. Yeah, you're really journalist when you're taking those kinds of selfies. All right. Yeah, I believe that when pigs fly. Then again, cops have helicopters. So maybe that's the wrong metaphor. So, yeah, stupid gonna stupid here. You're not a journalist if you're committing a felony on the supposed job. You're not. You're just fucking not. I see Mike has muted himself, so I'm going to go ahead and assume he's... There he is!
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. No one wants to hear that. But I'm back. So yeah,
Woohoo, yay!
these people,
But
they're not journalists. And even if they were, it's
No.
not a, you know, as you say, it's not a get out of jail
No.
free card.
they lose journalism defiance once they're committing a felony. That's it.
Yeah. So let's do our and finally story now. Oh,
That's exactly what the article was saying. It is absolutely not.
Man, anyway, moving on to our piece of fluff, our fluff story. Man saves wife from bobcat
I believe I
attack.
saw in the side chat basically the only thing that guarantees almost gives you immunity for equal match. That's a whole other story forward. Oh,
Oh, hang on.
I do love how I described it in the doc. Let me just. So this guy saved just.
Oh dear. I think we've lost Sci Niece. I think we've lost her. But I don't
This
know.
could be true. My machine has just gone very potato.
Husband saves wife from rabid bobcat. Holds animal above his head like Simba. There's a still from the footage. You have to see to believe this video of a man saving his wife from a bobcat attack. This now viral video starts out innocently enough. A man in North Carolina is caught on his outdoor camera saying good morning to one of his neighbors as they jog by. He sets his morning coffee down, casually looks at his car and proclaims it needs a wash. Then shit goes south real quick when his wife appears in the video carrying an animal kennel in her hands and immediately begins screaming. It turns out she's being attacked by a bobcat and her husband is not having it. And I think we've got the footage here.
Good morning. I need to wash my car. Oh my God, the bobcat! Oh my God! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get to me! Get up! Lindsay! Watch out! Oh, shoot that fucker! Get out! Watch out! Watch out! It's a bobcat attacking my wife! A bobcat! Good morning.
So, yeah. That was, as the tweet said, that was a wild 46 seconds. Oh, we got Sci Niece back.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened. I got dropped out. So yeah, the motherfucker got Simba'd and yeeted.
Yes.
So again, Lion King. Everyone is familiar with the Lion King, I assume. That's, yeah. Simba! Yoink!
I don't know if you saw the footage.
I did.
Yeah.
I was sitting here waiting for a couple of minutes. I had to
Oh.
turn my Wi-Fi off and back on.
But yeah, that was that was crazy.
It was. I just, I saw this story and I was like, you know what, this is it. We've got to have this one. So, shit,
good.
pizza's on its way.
Oh, good. Good night then, Greg.
Bye, Greg.
Thanks for dropping by.
Always happy to have you.
And so yeah, they're here. Yeah, thanks for sharing this story with us.
Oh, not a problem at all. So I hope that was a good enough cat story for Stool's liking. Do we even know where he went?
Is he? He's still here.
I'm doing stuff. Shut up.
And,
okay. So you're jerking off. Okay.
So that brings us to the end of our show. It's been a long one this time.
Well, that's what happens when you
she
decide to fuck
said.
Yeah, we had we had a lot of catching up to do.
Yes.
So
yes.
But
The thing is, I got really pissed off. My computer went totally potato because I was going to do some. It's now after midnight, Mike. So today is officially what day?
Friday.
Not here.
Think carefully.
I got about 3 hours before I gotta leave for work.
I'm pretty sure that today is St. George's Day.
Oh,
yes. So I was working on a little bit of a sexy, but my computer potatoed.
Oh. Okay. Anyway, thanks to everyone in the side chat for dropping by. And thanks as always to my co-host Sci Niece. And thanks
Always a pleasure.
And thanks for Stool for gracing us with his presence.
If it can be called that.
Where?
Cotman. Pizza. Hey Josh, you want to say hi now that you've walked into the room? He just pulled his pants down. He's showing his ass cheeks. I'm not gonna turn the camera around for that.
And on that bombshell, we'll say good night.
His butt is the bomb.
Gotta listen to the important bit, Mike. Dick.
What important bit?
Watch the moving and now sing. You unpatriotic git.
Well, you could look at this.
Okay, that's enough of
He's
that.
driving down Elgon now. Sorry, I'm trying to get Josh to go outside and meet the damn pizza guy.
And anyway.
Yeah, he's coming down the street now. Woo-hoo.
So good nights, and we'll see you again next week at the same time. Bye for now.
Yep.
You all